Hello, hello. Welcome back to the Money Hungry Mama podcast. I'm so excited because we have Lauren here today. Lauren, take it away.
Hi, I'm Lauren Boss. I'm a mother of three boys, all boys, and an author. I published my first book last year to geared towards young women finding their way in the world and finding their voice. It's called All the Girls I Was Before, and it's about letting go of whatever's defined you in the past and stepping into the things that feel right and serve you going into the future. So it's all about change and evolution as women. And I am also a small business owner. So I acquired a company at the end of last year and have now been leading that for a few months. So it's always busy and changing in my world. So I'm excited to share it all with you.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's hear about this company that you acquired. So what's that called?
So that's called Crane Environmental Services. It's an engineering company and it helps us preserve our soils and water. It's to prevent pollution. So we are consulting, and the engineers that serve on my staff help consult in the construction industry to, on the front side, make sure that we're making the plans properly, that nothing gets polluted into the environment around as others are building things in our world. So it could be roads, private houses, anything like that that could run off into waterways. So our job is to protect those and keep our environment safe. So we're an environmental engineering firm.
That is really cool. So now, how does that work? Does like the company have to like come to you, or do you go to the new build and be like, you have to utilize us?
Yeah, so there are regulations federally and then local and state. Every state has their own rules, but the nation overall has rules about, what can and can't go into our waterways and how things work from a pollution standpoint. So it's required that you have some of these things in place. So they could use us or they could use others that offer similar services, or some construction companies have them in house. But for those that don't, we can offer that to our clients and allow them to be within the correct regulations and to get the right permits to begin building, because you can't even start building something if you don't have some of these plans in place. And then we also have a team that goes out and tests throughout a building process to make sure that they're staying within the guidelines.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that by going out and testing and doing these things, that they'll also be able to just not I'm sure there's fines and stuff if they mess up at any point too. So having you guys on staff to check and be like, "Hey, you're getting a little bit too crazy here, like you got to clean this up a little bit," would be
Yes.
great for
Yeah, so
them
it's
too.
real it's really helping our clients, like, be able to get started, to build what they wanna build, and then to stay in compliance throughout, right? So we're helping with all of that and making sure that, nobody's polluting or doing anything that we don't want to happen in our environment. So, yeah, it's an interesting space. It's not, like, something flashy and that you might know about, but it is something that is required by law to protect these waterways and our soils, and it's been a really interesting adventure. It's different than some other spaces I've been in before. I've been in some adjacent construction and infrastructure spaces in my career. But if you asked me like 10 years ago, are you going to be running a company that is environmental engineering? I would have like never seen it coming. But then like when you look back, the steps kind of make sense and prepare you for the things to come.
Okay, let's talk about that for a second. So how did you acquire this? How did this fall into your lap?
Well, I mean, it didn't just fall into my lap. It was like a long time coming. I used to work for a company in the chemical industry, and I worked in sales and marketing, and I did that for about 10 years. And then there was a big sweep of layoffs, and that was in 2023. I took a severance package, and I had just had my second son, and I was like, okay, I'm going to take this time to be with my babies and then figure out what I want to do next in my career. And at that point, I was like, okay, I've had enough experience in business. I had a little bit of savings under my belt. I was like, maybe there's something I could do that's more of an entrepreneurship path. And I looked at, this is funny. I'm going to do a little tangent here, but
Yeah.
I listened to one of your podcasts about like some side hustles you did and things like that. So like I started like doing some random things. Like I started a blog, and it was really more of just like an outlet for me to learn something new and do
Mhm.
something creative. Like there was like no income or anything like coming from that. I hardly even told anyone that I started it, but I just like was like, okay, I like writing, like let's explore what might I want to do next. And eventually that kind of evolved into the book as well. But during that time, there were about like 2 years where I was looking at one, I did some things on my own, and then I was like, is there a way that I could invest in something that already exists or find someone
Mhm.
that's like retiring and then I could take, like, a bigger leap instead of just being, like, a one-man show. I could maybe come into a team, and so I was looking at anything from, like, boutique gyms, bakeries, like, Crumbl Cookies. I looked at, like, so many different businesses, and then I came across this one, online, and she was retiring, and it just, like, checked a lot of the boxes. It was, like, a smaller group, so less than 10 employees. I was like, "Okay, this could be a good fit," and then explored it, and it ended up working out. So, yeah, it was kind of like, I don't know, I looked at a lot of different paths during that time frame and then ended up here.
I love that you looked at all these paths, like, including, like, you threw out Crumbl Cookie, like,
Yes.
and that's so funny. So, like, franchises, that's really cool. I love that. Okay, and, like, what I also want everybody at home to hear too is Lauren, like, went into this with the mindset of owning, like, an actual business, right? Like, this was way past the hustle. She was like, "I'm completely transferring from my 9 to 5 to making this, like, a full-blown business." I love that. So now that you're a couple months in, are you still very happy with your decision and love what you did?
Yeah, very happy and just still learning a lot. It's like, I think everyone says entrepreneurship is kind of a roller coaster, and it
Mhm.
is, and it takes a big leap of faith, like to go from something that's comfortable. And I could have, gone back and found someone else to work for, and who knows what the future will hold. But like at that time, I was like, I really want to try to figure out if there's something I can do to work for myself. And yeah, so far so good. So it's been awesome. Luckily, the team that we came into like is has stayed on, and my husband has also joined me in this venture. So he's working as an engineer on staff. He's has an engineering background. So we
Wow.
both like have really gone all in, and yeah, so it's like exciting and it's also can be scary, but I just like say a prayer and, listen to what I feel is the right move.
I love that so much. Say a prayer and just listen to it. I think, like, that is exactly how the Money Hungry Mama started. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like going all in and, like, it's so scary. And I tell you guys all the time, I need everybody to hear me. Like, you're hearing two people that, like, did the thing, but it doesn't always mean it's for you. I just wanna say that, like,
Yeah.
if you guys want the stability and, like, she had a savings, she had everything mapped out. It's not like she just took a leap of faith without any sort of background of keeping things. Like, she was not as crazy as I was. And, you wanna make sure that and when you are deciding to do it, you do have that egg because I didn't have that egg, and it definitely hit harder than I'm sure it hit Lauren. Like, because I didn't have eggs. So there was a lot of pressure. And if you're putting a lot of pressure on something, it's no longer beautiful. It makes it, a little icky. So make sure that you are in a good spot to take the leap, especially because we're mamas with kids. So definitely make sure that you are in a better spot than I ever was. I feel like that should be like a theme of this podcast. Like, don't do what I do.
Yeah, and I mean, it's hard to say, right? Like, I'm only 3 months in, like, ask me in a year, ask me in 5 years. Like, it's just hard to say, like, when you're so new in,
Yeah.
so I'll keep letting you know, but I will also say, like, if you're in a partnership, so if you have a spouse or someone else that you're working with, when I was going out and doing some of my own things before we purchased this business, and she's retiring, the owner is retiring out, so we're, kind of phasing that out and taking over. So it's kind of a unique situation, whereas like not starting from scratch, like trying to build
Yeah.
something brand new. She already had systems and teams, and we learn a lot from her. So it's a little bit different. But I also had a partner. So when I was doing my like one person jobs, like trying to do the blog and trying to even writing the book. And then I started my own marketing offerings because I had a marketing pass, and I was like, okay, I'll do freelance marketing. Like I was making like a little bit here and there, but not enough to
Yeah.
like displace a household income. Right. So at that time, he was still working a 9 to 5. So I don't know. Sometimes there's a balance of like who's doing the more crazy thing and who's doing the safer thing.
Oh,
And then now
100%.
we're both kind of doing the more crazy thing. So who
No,
knows?
100%. My husband says all the time, he's like, it's so funny because I want you guys to hear what he says because it is true. Like, yes, when you are working to 9 to 5, I love the stability. I love the health insurance. I love all the things that it provides. I will always be honest about the safety net of a 9 to 5. So my husband has a 9 to 5, but he's always the one that's like, if we're going to do anything, if we're going to make it, it's going to be you. Because the unknown of having these businesses and putting yourself in on all these things, like, you never know what could come of it, but it's the grit in the heart. Like, that's
Yeah.
gonna tell what it's gonna be. If you are willing to stay up really late, wake up really early, like, go all in knowing that businesses don't even see a return for 3 years.
Yeah.
Like, she stepped into a to an established business. This is a different situation. Everybody else listening, like, if you're starting today, businesses don't even see a return for 3 years. So that's why it's so important to keep all of these things in mind as you're doing it. My gosh. Okay,
And
so
I'll be honest, that scared me off from a lot of the businesses I looked at. Some things, like there was a gym that it was like kind of this boutique gym that's up and coming. It's bigger in like LA and New York. I've been to a studio in Chicago, but I live in Indiana and there aren't any here yet. And I was like, oh, this could be a really good opportunity to get in early. But
mhm,
then when I started looking at the numbers and talking with, the franchisor, it was like, okay, you have to find like literally a vacant lot or like a area to lease out, so you're like putting down money before you have a single client, and then
mhm.
you're like paying the trainers to get, up to speed and all of this. It's like years probably before you are making a profit. So I was like, I don't know that I can, make that work for my savings. So yeah, it just depends what your situation is. But yeah, there's definitely different risk tolerances and you have to balance that with what you're deciding to go after.
100%. I love that. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Yeah, because it's so true. I feel like you see all of these things, like, popping up. I mean, around me in New Jersey, like, there's, like, 2 Pilates studios, like, across the street from each other, and it's like,
Yeah.
I get, like, hearing those type of things where it's like, oh, like, opening up a gym, like, for a while, I don't know if you guys remember, like, Max was huge, like, the Max Fitness was huge, and now everybody I know is talking about a thing called Sweat 440, and it's like, it just kind of ebbs and flows too when it's, like, boutique like that, that's very
Yeah.
niched. So,
Yeah.
but, Planet Fitness, that'll always ride out with the
That one
$10
seems to be going strong.
subscription.
That they have that one around here. But yeah, it sounds like
Yes.
you guys have different ones on the East Coast than we have here. I don't even know those ones that you threw out other than Planet Fitness.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, see, that's what I mean too. It's crazy.
Yeah.
You never know what people, like, everywhere are into, so that's so funny. The Money Hungry Mama Guide is officially available for pre-order. And this book is honestly the one I wish existed when I was sitting in the parking lot wondering how we were going to afford diapers. Over the past 9 years, I've tried nearly 30 different side hustles, learned what works, what doesn't, and how moms can actually start making money without sacrificing their families. Inside the book, you'll find over 175 real hustle ideas for moms, plus over 30 incredible moms who share their tips, their mistakes, the tricks that help them grow. This guide is everything I've learned, laid out step by step so you don't have to spend the years figuring out the hard way. If you ever thought, I know I'm meant for more, I just don't know where to start, this book is for you. You can pre order the Money Hungry Mama Guide now wherever books are sold. And when you do, just know you're not just buying a book, you're joining a movement of moms building something bigger. Stay hungry, mamas. Okay, so now let's pivot a little bit. Let's talk about your book. So tell
Yeah.
us how this came to be.
Yeah, so I have it here again. It's called All the Girls I Was Before, and you can find it on Amazon. It's a book that really follows my journey through career, motherhood, and just like becoming more of who you're meant to be. So I reflect on some of my own stories and I share some others throughout, but it's really just a memoir and it also has reflection prompts at the end of each chapter. So not only is it my story, but I'm telling, my experience in business, my experience in motherhood and just how
Mhm.
all these changes kind of have rocked me and how I've evolved throughout my time in motherhood and career and how I've become more really true to myself and learned to listen to my own voice. That's both internal, like intuition, and also just outwardly speaking up for myself and speaking up for like what feels right for me instead of just staying on always the safe path or whatever path was laid out for you. But at the end of each chapter, I do lay out journal prompts because I think that is so useful and
Mhm.
it's statistically and studies have shown that that helps if you write down a goal, it's more likely to happen. And if you write down, a hard time, you're more able to work through it. So I have used that really to heal and to grow journaling. So that's why I include that at the end of each chapter for the reader to reflect on their own journey. So it's not all about my journey. It's just kind of helping the reader also think about where am I at in my life and what feels right for me and how can I start to listen more to my inner voice and how can I start to speak up outwardly about what's right for me?
I love that. I love that. Yeah, in the Money Hungry Mama too, I have the prompts too. Yeah, I love something about reading a book with prompts at the end. And
Yeah,
it's like, because it brings you in it. It immerses you in the book too, because you have a lot of thoughts and it's like, let me just get them out on paper. I love
yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's a lot more interactive, so it's not just, like, trying to read it cover to cover, and you don't even have to if you pick up my book, you don't have to read the whole thing. If you're, like, in the trenches of motherhood or just starting to become a mother while in the workforce or thinking about staying home, like, any of those things, I kind of work through all of the process that I went through when I became a mother, when I was working in corporate America, and then, I mean, things have even changed since then, so now I'm balancing a different kind of lifestyle, but just things if you're new to it or you're like, "I feel kind of alone in this phase," you can feel so alone in motherhood and career, and
Mhm.
it's like you feel like you're the first person to ever have to, like, leave your baby to work or to get no sleep in the night and get up and have to make it happen anyway in the business world, so sometimes I felt alone in those things, and I don't know if people talk about them enough, so I just wanted to share that as well.
I love that. No, it's so true. I mean, that's like our mantra here, like, you're not alone, right? So it's so refreshing to hear that there's also a book that could kind of guide people through those thoughts and decisions. And I like how you worded it, like, we think like we're the first ones to ever do it. And it's so
Yeah.
true because, like, when you're in the middle of it, it's like no one understands. But that's not true. There's like over probably 1 million women who are going through the same thing at the same exact time. And I think it's just like so beautiful that now we're all like finding each other and talking more about it and being more open, because I feel like it was very taboo back in the day. Be like, no, no, like, put on your makeup, put on your nice dress, and everything is
Mhm.
fine. Like, you are
Yeah.
fine. And it's crazy. And now we're like, we're not fine. We're absolutely not fine. I am struggling and I'm not fine. So
Yeah,
I
I mean,
love
they
that.
it's like, what's the saying? Like, women can do it all, but they shouldn't have to, or something.
Yeah.
Like, we have a lot that we're balancing, and even if we look like we're doing it so well, like, it is hard. So it's
Yeah.
nice to have other women to connect with and to share that journey with, and kind of know, like, okay, I'm gonna be okay.
Yeah. I'm absolutely going to be okay. And I absolutely am not alone. I love that. Okay, so now we have these 2 businesses, and now we're getting into the nitty-gritty business part for those mamas listening. Marketing. Tell us, they're 2 completely different things. What is working best for both?
So for the book, I'll start there because I launched that in the end of September last year, which feels like a million years ago because I've also had a baby since then
Oh
and
my god,
I acquired this business. Yeah, I don't think I threw that in there. Yeah, I
you
had
did
my
not.
third son in October. I was like super pregnant when I launched my book.
Wow.
Yeah, so the marketing side, I did some in-person events, and then I've also done some podcasts, I've done some social media, and I think I've really enjoyed a mix of both. The in-person events, it's nice to connect with like real women. I did an event last month, and I probably gave out a few books there and then maybe 5 books there and then also had some sales coming online after that, but I think just, like, you can really talk and connect and, like, if you just someone buys it online, you never really know, like, what
Yeah.
their experience is with it, and so, yeah, I've really enjoyed the in-person events as well, but another thing that's been good from the marketing aspect is I really leaned on, like, different groups, and then they've
Mhm.
actually helped me spread it, so it's like my neighborhood, there's a lot of awesome women that live here and are in similar phases of life, and they kind of have been like, "Oh, I passed it along to my Bible study," or "I passed it along to my sister," and just, like, meeting people in the community that way and then having them just word of mouth pass it on has been a huge factor, and I was given the advice by a very successful author that I met before, and he said, that you should always take your book anywhere you go. Hand it out, so I'm like, "Okay, I'm going to the grocery store, I'm gonna see someone, I'm gonna give them a copy," I see another mom out
Yeah.
there, I give her a copy. I go, whatever you're going. Maybe you're going on a trip and you like people are at the airport and they're reading. It's like, hey, do you want a copy? Yes, you're not making money on like selling a copy, but there's really not that much money in selling books anyway. Like you get very small royalties. So if someone else can get helped by the book, which is my goal, like then I'll hand it out and if they pass it along to someone else, like that's really useful. So yeah, I've kind of followed that mantra too of just like passing it along, whether virtually or in person, I kind of pass it along to folks and that's helped it spread as well.
I love that. I love that. It's definitely something that is really cool when you just, like, have it in your purse or whatever, and you're just, like, looking at somebody and you're like, "Oh, I think you can use this." And it's like, "I'm just
Yeah.
gonna give this to you."
Yeah.
I
And then
love that.
on the business side, so I worked in marketing in corporate America for over 5 years, and then I did my own kind of like freelance marketing for a little while, and now I'm starting to look at, like, how can we better market the business that I'm in today.
Mhm.
But to be honest, like, I'm so new to it, I've just been learning everything for the past 3 months that I haven't done a huge push on the marketing front yet, but I do have ideas of, like, fixing up our website and just trying to make clear our offerings, because when I was doing the freelance marketing, I would always ask my clients, like, what is the value that the customer is getting from you? Like, you really have to put yourself in the customer's
Mhm.
standpoint. Like, what are they getting out of it by using your product or service? And I'm trying to apply that to my business that I'm in now as well. So trying to understand that, and I've been meeting the customers and meeting with our teams and things like that to try to pinpoint, what makes us unique, or what are we really doing that's like either alleviating a headache for our customers so they can get to work, or just helping them move more quickly in their processes of building things. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it from both sides of kind of learning that in a new space and then trying to apply my previous knowledge to it as well.
Yeah, and it's so true, and what I want you guys to pay attention to too is one is more local, right? Like the business that she has with the builders and everything, I'm assuming is more local because you guys have certain laws by states and things like that. And then the book, like, hey, we want that worldwide. So notice like the two very different things. Like, with the book, yes, she did in-person events, but also like she played a part in social media, brought that up. But in the other space, that wasn't really brought up. What was brought up was connecting with customers and more, foot on the pavement and walking around and getting your name out and going to these builders. Like, I'm sure like knocking on Ryan's home door and be like, "Hello, this is a new build, but I'm sure you guys need this." You know what I mean? So it's definitely marketing is not a one size fits all, and I think that's something I really try to get across here. But it's finding what works, and sometimes it's throwing spaghetti at the wall for a while until you start seeing what clicks, and that's okay. It's absolutely
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, marketing is an interesting kind of game because sometimes you don't know for a long time if it worked or not, especially depending,
Mhm.
like, if you have a long business cycle, like, you don't really know. And for more of like a book, you could probably tell pretty quickly. But in my business, like, whether or not we're reaching clients, it could be months. Like, we put something out there and it could be months before you kind of know if you got anything from that. So yeah, I think you need to have multiple strategies, some that are long term and some that are more immediate.
For sure. And you think too, because it could be months because they have to get across all these hurdles and permits and all the things before they even think about actually building. Because it's like, why get into a contract if you're not even sure if you have the land yet? So that
Right.
also probably plays like a massive part. No, it's so true. It's so true. Okay, so now we have this beautiful book and your business. Let's talk about the book first. What is the future hope for the book?
My future hope for the book is just to share it with more women. I feel like I've done pretty well locally, and I do have like a few feelers out more broadly, but I'd love to share it like in more regions and get out. And I didn't do any kind of like book tour because I was like just having a baby. So the timing was kind of interesting, but I'm like, I'd love to later this year really get out and go to some different areas, even if it's just like cities a few hours away instead of
Mhm.
I've really only done events and things locally and then virtually, which is great. So I'm glad to get to share it maybe with some more of your East Coast audience. But yeah, I really want to just get it out to more women because those who I have gotten it to have been like, wow, this really resonated with me, or I really enjoyed the journal prompts, or it helped me rethink, what's right for me. And just anyone that's thinking about a big change or just wants to feel less alone, like in career and motherhood and balancing all of that and kind of growing in your faith too. Like I said, like going
Mhm.
out and being an entrepreneur, it takes a big leap of faith. And I've really kind of been like growing in that space a lot in the recent years by doing something that was stepping away from the path that was comfortable to me. So yeah, if you want to like change in your career and your life and your faith, like all of that, I would say this book is a great thing to get in the hands of women all over the country and all over the world. So yeah, just trying to get it out to more women now that I'm able to travel a little better.
Love it. Man, I love growing in the faith. I think that that is like something that has been a very slow turn, but something that is absolutely happening for myself. And I think that really just resonated. So that was great. And then, okay, so that's that one. What is your hope for your small business?
Yeah. Oh, I have so many hopes. I feel like I'm like so fresh into it. I feel like there's like a million things that we could do. Coming in, the hope was really just to keep the team, make things keep going well. Like, I don't want anyone to feel too disturbed by I've been in the business world a long time and I've had good leaders come in and bad leaders come in. I've seen both, like, and some people come in and try to change everything and try to be this like big, make a big splash. And some people, maybe don't do that as much. But I've seen kind of the good and bad. So as I come in, I want to just make sure everybody is being taken care of on the team and I want to make sure our clients are being taken care of and that we keep things pretty steady. But also at
Mhm.
the same time, I have this like lens of, okay, where can we improve? Like, what can we do better to support our customer relationships? What can we do better to support our teams? And then I'm looking like more strategically at what markets and regions we can expand into because right now we're mostly in Indiana, which is our home state.
Mhm.
And we also have the ability to look into some other regions nearby, like move more business into other states as well. So, yeah, we're kind of centrally located in Indiana, but our teams can serve like a much larger region than they are now. So, I'm really excited to look into that as well.
I love that. Okay, so a couple things. One, did you ever watch The Office?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. So good.
Yes. We were just watching last night, and Michael left, literally was sobbing, and then, what's his face came in, Will
Mhm.
Ferrell,
Mm.
and it was so funny because, like what you were saying, like, sometimes the change is so abrupt, like, it's just crazy how it can happen, but I love that, like, you're taking the time to really kinda keep it the same, but also throwing in the new ideas and expanding and doing all the things that your business truly needs to thrive. So that's going to be exciting. I really hope that you keep us updated if you get out of your region and like get to other regions. I think obviously that would be a no-brainer and fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Oh gosh, I love The Office. Like, such a great show.
It's hysterical. Literally, I was like, it makes me crack up so many times. Um, Another question I have for you, because you are juggling 2 things. You're juggling your book, you're juggling the small business, and you're juggling 3 little boys. How is that all happening for you? Do you have like a calendar plan? Like, what do you do?
Oh gosh. I mean, I wish I had the answer to this because and I ask other women, I'm like, how do you do this? How do you balance motherhood and business ownership? It's a lot. I mean, I'm tired and we're always like piecing it together. It's like, all right, we have childcare on these days. Can we ask grandma and grandpa to help on these times? My husband, can you do pickup? And I'm going to do drop off. Like and we're not, like, in a real smooth schedule, to be honest, quite yet. We're, like, still trying to find out this new balance, but I feel like we're getting there little by little. I am big on the calendars. I'm like, I have a calendar on the fridge, and I'm always writing on it, and then my husband and I have a shared calendar, and then I have my Google Calendar, like, I feel like I've got all these different calendars. There's probably a more efficient way to blend this all together. I've heard of some, like, electronic calendar I think you can
I
get on
just
your
got it.
fridge. Did you? What is it called?
It's called Skylight and it has been life
Skylight.
changing.
Okay, tell me then, because sell me on it because I'm like, I don't know,
Okay.
it sounds pretty expensive. I don't know.
It is, but honestly, it has been worth every single penny. So, for example, my kids, I have 3 as well, and they come home with the weekly news. And in the news, it's what you need to send in, what they're dressing up as, what all those things. All I
That's
do
a
is
lot of
take a
things.
it's insane. I take a picture of it and all of a sudden and click their name. So every single parent kid gets a different name. I mean, gets a different color. I picked their name, and right there on the calendar, all I did was take a picture of it. Is sock day on Wednesday, hat day on
Wow,
Friday. Don't forget to put the eggs in on Thursday. Like it's literally right there for me to do. And all I did was screenshot a picture of it. I didn't even read it.
that's
And then
amazing.
it's literally incredible. So those things are in there. And as for everybody that's listening right now, I'm like, by the time this comes out, I'm about 3 months into my 7 month book tour. All of my events, everything that I have is right there on the calendar, ready to go the minute it's done. My favorite feature of the whole entire thing, though, is literally just taking a picture. So, like, my daughter had a birthday party on Sunday. I screenshotted the invite, the address, the RSV text message, the kid's name, and like what they would like in the notes, all right there.
Wow, amazing. I did not know it had those features. I had just like barely heard of it. We are not at all affiliated or sponsoring this. We are
No.
just really interested in getting organized. So that okay, I think I might have to get one.
Yeah, no, 100%. I highly recommend it, guys. It's called the Skylight Calendar. And there's a cheaper option too. So if you don't want the giant one, there's also like a 15-inch one that does the same exact thing that could just kind of get you through the day.
Yeah.
And as a mom that literally forgot her daughter is Olympics and I sent her in the wrong color. I'm super happy now that I have that because
Yeah.
now all those days where I'm supposed to be sending in stuff, I have it down.
Yeah, and I feel like going to 3 kids, like well, my baby doesn't really have anything, like, on the calendar other than maybe doctor's appointments, but I'm like, "Oh gosh," like, bounce even I'm already like, "Okay, this one needs snacks sent in, this one has this activity," like, it's already a lot,
Yeah,
and I'm like when they all have 3, like, full-blown, like, activities and
it's
schedules,
nuts.
it's a lot.
It's honestly nuts. So my son's in travel baseball. That takes up like 4 days out of the week. Now he just told me yesterday he wants to do travel basketball. I'm like,
Wow.
"Oh." And then my daughter has gymnastics and dance, like, just to have it all right there color coded.
Yeah.
I was trying to do the old whiteboard and, like, trying to do everything myself, and obviously I missed, Olympic Day, and I was distraught.
Yeah.
And so that night, my husband came home with the Skylight, and he was like, "Here we go, we're gonna be fine." And because I was distraught that I forgot to send her in the red shirt.
If this makes you feel any better, on my son's first day of kindergarten this year, I sent him in, like, I thought I understood what, like, the paperwork said. I sent him in and he came home and they, like, sent a message and they were like, "You did not send him a lunch." And he was like I was like, "So what did you do?" And he was like, "Someone gave me a granola bar." Like, I didn't know I had to send lunch. I thought it was, like, cafeteria provided or something. This is my oldest, so I obviously don't know
Right.
anything. And I'm like, I literally didn't give my child lunch on his first day of school. Like, big, big fail.
No, no, no. If you don't know and you're not in the school district, you never know, right? And I love that you thought that the lunch was included because
Well, because
it should be.
they had something called lunch bunch, and they said, like so actually this school has, like, half day and longer day programs that he's
Got
at.
it.
I was like, "Okay, I'm signing him up for lunch bunch. That must mean that he gets lunch," but it just means he stays for that hour, but he's supposed to have his own lunch, so I was a little bit confused.
Oh my gosh, no. That I love that. Thank you for sharing. And it did make me feel better because right in here, you're hearing a conversation. We're not alone, right? Like
Yes.
nobody has to sit there and be that distraught over the mistakes because we are not alone. I love it so much. Okay, Lauren, what does being a money hungry mama mean to you?
So, to me, the whole money hungry mama and the theme, like, with my book, it's about defining success on your own terms.
Love it.
Like as women, we're pulled in so many directions, like motherhood, and maybe we have a passion, like we love writing and we want to write a book, and we also want to make money and we want to run a business. Like there's so many different avenues for us to explore, and it's so unique to each woman. So I think it's just about defining success on your own terms and going after, whatever balance is right for you. And there are so many different ways to make money and to do well in business. And it's just finding what's right for you. And I think all mamas deserve to go after that, whether it's passions, business, whatever your blend is, go for it and define it on your own terms.
I love that. Success on your own terms, chills. I love asking that question because it's just, I love hearing what it means to everybody to start their business, to chase their dream, to do the thing. And everybody's answer is always so different. So beautifully, beautifully said. And Lauren, where can our listeners support you?
So, our listeners, you can find me on Amazon for my book, All the Girls I Was Before, Lauren Boss. Just put it in the search bar and you can find it on there. And you can also find me on Instagram at Lauren Boss. And then the book has its own page, All the Girls I Was Before, where I share things more related to the book and quotes and little information and events and things related to that. And then my personal account is really just a mix of family and passions and things like that. So yeah, you can find me there. I'm also on LinkedIn for those of you looking more on the business side. So on there, I share more tips around like marketing or what's going on in my business, speaking events, things like that I'm doing locally, and just best practices as women in business. So you can find me, Lauren Boss, on LinkedIn as well.
My gosh. I also love that distinction too. Let's talk about that for a second, guys. She keeps her business, the small business that she acquired, strictly on LinkedIn, which is a perfect space for it because that's where that audience is. That's where they're living. They're not looking at Instagram at, checking levels. They're looking at that would be something that's absolutely LinkedIn worthy. But her books, that's on Instagram. So remember, as you're deciding which social media to go down, really think about where your audience is living and that was just a prime example of knowing the difference of where your audience lives. So that was great. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amazing. Lauren, we are so thankful that you're here today. Thanks so much for coming.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Brittany. It's great talking.